Now, up till now, we've been working exclusively in Blend with a little bit of work in Visual Studio. Now it's time to bring in a couple of the resources that can be created in Design, one of Blend's sister products. Now, I've gotten a couple pieces of art from one of my teammates, Jesse Brown. Now, Jesse's a designer, and expression design is his specialty, but I want to work with what he's created and do something cool. Now, I've got two design files in your project folder. Let's open one of those right now. I'm going to open the file, and I currently want the icons file from your project directory. Now here, I've got a handful of icons that have been put out, and each icon has been split into its own layer. Those were set up for me by Jesse, and that's going to be important for what I'm going to do in the next step. I want to export this document out to XAML so I can interact with it in Blend. So let's go ahead and go up to File and Export. Now the first thing it's going to ask me is, where do I want to save my file? And I can change the type, but I'm just going to leave the default name and I'm going to save it as a XAML document. I'm going to save it to my desktop, but feel free to save it wherever you're comfortable. Okay, now it's giving me a preview of the XAML document that I'm going to export. Since the icons aren't really arranged in any style, I don't need to export the entire document. I just want to export the individual pieces. So I'm going to expand the document format at the top. This allows me to choose what format I want to output in. I can output as a canvas, as a WPFE document, or as a resource dictionary. In this case, I want to export as a resource dictionary, and I want to group by the layers. Now I could group by the document, and I'd end up with a single drawing brush, as indicated down here, with the entire document in it. Instead, I want to group by the individual layers, so each layer that Jesse set up, I get one piece in my resource dictionary. You can see at the bottom a preview of each element in the resource dictionary, as well as what the name is going to be of the resource that gets created. Okay, this looks like what I want, so I'm going to go ahead and export. And now I'm going to use Alt-Tab and switch over to Blend. I've just started Blend here. I haven't even created a project, so let's start with a new project here. I'm just going to create a standard application, and I'm going to call it Icons. Now I've got my window that's come up. I need to add that resource dictionary to my project. I add that resource dictionary the way I add any other existing item, with Add Existing Item. Go ahead and select it, and I saved it to my desktop, so I'm just going to grab it from there. Open that up, and now it appears in my project list, and when I switch over to my Resources tab, I now have the icons.xaml. I expand that, and I can see the drawing brushes that have been created for each individual icon. So now, let me grab a rectangle, drag one out on my artboard, and when I switch to my properties, I can go to my resources for my fill, and you'll see all of those icons, and with one click, they're applied to that rectangle. Now let's say I was creating a set of buttons or an icon strip. I'm going to grab a stack panel really quick, drag one out onto the artboard, activate it, and drop a couple buttons in. Now my orientation's going the wrong way, so let me select my stack panel and change the orientation to horizontal. Let me reactivate the layout root and use my selection tool to drag my new rectangle directly into the button. And with a single click of the Alt key, my image is put into the button. Now I can repeat this process, create another rectangle, set to the new resource, and drag it into the button the same way. You can see that with just a couple mouse clicks and tweaking a few sizes here and there, I'm well on my way to using those icons that were created for me in Design to create a button strip using those graphical icons very quickly and very easily. I could then even go the next step and restyle or retemplate the buttons to change the appearance behind the content presenter, but as long as the content presenter is there, I'm going to keep getting the icons in each element.